karibu. Asante sana for the feedback, Edward. Santa Chengo, thank you, my husband, for joining in. We start in the next 3 minutes. Please share this to the groups that you belong to. Let's spread this gospel of mental wellness. We are starting in the next 2 minutes. Karibuni sana Kaleche Mumo, I can see you. Let us share this to all the groups that we belong to. Winnie, Kabis, Karibu sana. We start in exactly 2 minutes time. Karibuni sana, please share. Jesus, take your place. Karibuni sana, Winnie's Kabis, I can see you. Karibu sana, please share this to the groups that you belong to. Please do share this. Let's spread the gospel of mental wellness. Lydia, I can see you. Karibu sana. Frank Kamau, welcome, welcome. Many groups that you belong to. Let us spread mental wellness out there. People need it during this time. We lift you high. Can you lift your voice and say, we lift you high. We come to lift you up. We lift you high. Jackson Kimel, thank you so much for joining in. Please share this to the many groups that you belong to. Today we are talking about the 5 languages of love and why relationships fail. Carol Kinua, welcome. Share this, guys. Share this to the many groups that you belong to. I just love this song. Listen to the words, you know. Let everything else fade away, you know. Martha, karibu sana. Oh, I had to cut this song short, but guys, I just love Christian music. I'm a born-again believer. I cannot separate myself from God because I stand on his shoulders. So karibuni sana. Thank you so much for all of you who have been supporting MindSpa. Tina Mwikali, I can see you watching. I know you follow and you're very keen about mental wellness. Karibu sana. Judith Akech, I call you Jaber. Karibu sana. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you so much for all of you who have partnered with MindSpa to ensure that we spread the gospel of mental wellness. Some of you have been sharing this to the various groups that you belong to. I truly appreciate. Some of you have been giving. a bit of your finances to go, and finance, the many people that I support, because sometimes I do get overwhelmed. I'm not able to, be able to take in everyone in for counseling sessions. So I have to bring in other counselors who also need to put food on their table. So when I'm calling out for people to partner, I don't do it because I want to be paid. Personally, I think God has really been faithful to me, and I do this pro bono. A lot of the times I do counseling for free because for me, this is my purpose. So when I'm calling out for partnership, it is to enable me to be able to also pay the other counselors that I support by giving them clients. How has been your week? What is the highlight of the week? I mean, for me, it's been really, really crazy dealing with so many cases that I do. But as I say, this is my passion. And before I just start talking about, the 5 languages of love and why a lot of the relationships today are failing. I always say, one of the things that that puzzles me is that, you can invest as much as 10 million in your wedding, and then 6 months down the lane, you call it quits. And honestly, for me, I don't like judging people. I don't judge people. What I look for is where they were coming from in terms of their mindsets. Because as I said, the chain is everything originates from your mindset. What is up here comes out in the slips of the tongues and in what you say, and of course how you behave. So a lot of the times when you find people calling their relationships off and just divorcing and all that, it's because there is something that has pushed them down that cliff. So karibuni sana. We will be talking about the 5 languages of love. For those of you who are interested in, hearing me talking about, the different things, the different challenges in life, please drop in a message. I pick up on what you ask me or you request me to, talk about. So feel free. Those of you who are struggling, and if you know anyone out there who is struggling, please refer them to us. As I said, I do this for free. I know during these times when we are really, under pressure, and of course our finances are under pressure because COVID-19 has come with its own effects. I don't want people to, commit suicide, to end up committing suicide, or to end up in depression because they cannot afford these services. As I said, I stand on God's shoulder. The rest is very possible. So please share this to anyone you know is going through a tough time. And when I talk about tough times is anything to do with mental wellness. So today, as I talk about the 5 languages of love, my objectives for today is to help you understand keeping the stages of love. Okay, all of us are in a relationship, and in this relationship, what mostly keeps us together, other than employment, and even in employment, there's a level of love, is that love. Yeah, we have different types of love. So it's good to understand the stages of love when it comes to any relationship. And in extension, I will also, talk about family. Yeah. Then the second thing is to help you maneuver through the stages of love and what you need to do as you move on, as you transition to the different stages of love. Yeah. And the third one is to understand the different languages of love. Well, there are 5, but I may not be able to really exhaust all of them today. But let's see how time treats us. But I'm very key on the first 2. Then if I'm not able to complete, I will, you have to look out for the next video next week. Last week, I have to apologize. I know some of you called, some of you dropped in messages, we're waiting for you, where are you? I was entangled in something else, so I couldn't be able to come online, but I am here today. So thank you for all of you who have been checking up on me. Jenny J, thank you for joining in. We are talking about the 5 languages of love. And the last objective that I have today is to ensure that you understand or are able to identify the language of love your partner prefers. All right? So we begin. What is love? Because, we are talking about the 5 languages of love. It's very interesting. Psychologists, psychiatrists, educationists, and sociologists. My God, don't worry about the slip of the tongue. Yes, I always say, I'm African. Yes, they define love as a learned response or emotion. All right, this is very interesting. I found this to be very interesting. It is a learned response and emotion. But why do they say this? Because when you fall in love, that stage is very short-lived. Okay, it's very short-lived. And when they talk about that learned response or learned emotion, this actually happens in the second stage of love, which is the covenant stage of love. So what is the first stage of love? This is the obsessive stage of love. This is where you meet someone and voila, the way they look, you just fall in love. You're like, oh, the way this chick talks, my God. She swept me off the feet. It's about the beauty, guys. It's about the words, It's about, how that person just presents themselves. I like to call it the tingles, That is what, you just see this person and something moves in you. Like, as Africans, most of us, we like, there's a song, there's one time we had, it was, I don't know if it is a phrase that people used to, like saying, but, it was like electricity. That's actually what you feel when you see this person. Because this is the obsessive part of the stage of love. And, your friends will come and tell you, I don't think this guy is good for you, or I don't think this lady is good for you. But that time you're so obsessed with that person that everything that everyone says becomes irrelevant. You do not see it. It is how you feel. At that time, you're in this bubble, and anyone who says, something that is hurtful about this person that you have fallen in love with becomes an enemy. You're obsessed about that person, and if I could just use the right word, you become blind. You don't see. I mean, this guy could be having, or this woman would be having, something on them, a pimple or whatever. I mean, you don't just see it. It's something that's so captivating about them. So it's all about obsession. That is the first stage of love. But then we always say as psychologists, this stage is the most short-lived stage of love, because sooner or later then your eyes open and you move into the covenant kind of love. And that is where now you begin to see. When your friends were telling you, I don't think this guy is good for you. I just think, this lady has an attitude issue. That is the time you start realizing that it's true. Actually, what Venus was saying is actually true. Because all these things start manifesting themselves. You've been through the obsessive part, the romance, but then now reality has checked in. And it's in another way, it's like you've undressed yourself. So your flaws are showing. At this point in time, you get to a junction. Can I say a T-junction? Whether where you're forced to choose. Am I going to continue with this? Or do I just let go? Because, this person is not as perfect as I used to feel they are. And sometimes it gets hard, especially where you have committed, where you're married to this person and you're realizing every other day they just piss you off, for lack of a better word. They make you angry. It's like this person will come in, let me speak from a point of being as a woman, because that is what I can relate with. I don't know about the men. So when I refer to issues, please don't take it so personal, because I like to speak from my own point of view. Yeah. So like, you find your husband coming in, he has his dirty shoes, he has his dirty socks, he'll leave those shoes at the door, probably coming with his dirty socks, and this thing just irritates you. Because you're thinking, hey, am I the one to pick up after all this? So these flaws kind of like irritate you, and slowly by slowly you start building resentment. You start having petty arguments. You start having, petty issues in the relationship that if left, unresolved, end up create a very big rift. And two things that I am very much aware that break relationships is, number one, not understanding the kind of language your partner speaks. And number 2, finances. Of course, there are the 8 others, in-laws, other things, sex and all that. But the one that, I know truly ends up, tearing apart any relationship is not understanding your partner fully when it comes to their languages of love, and of course when it comes to finances. So karibuni sana, Kerry Kagiri, thank you for joining in. Monica Yotam, thank you, you're always watching these videos. Please share to the various groups that you belong to. Semu Cheune, karibu sana. Shiro Mwai, thank you for joining in. Joseph Osaka, Caroline Wamboi, and Snowdown, thank you for joining in. We just started talking about the 5 languages of love, and we're in the second stage of love where we were talking about the covenant love, and this is where the 5 languages of love come in. Now, as I was saying, you'll get to a T junction where you decide, I am either I'm moving on, or I will commit. So when you commit, that's where you need to understand the dynamics of your relationship. The question is, you've been married to this person. Do you know them fully? Because knowing them allows you to navigate through the journey of love. There is no perfect relationship. Let me tell you guys, there is no perfect relationship. And I really get how, I don't know how to describe it, but when someone comes and portrays that perfection, where you want to let everyone know, oh, we don't fight, my husband is a perfect, there is nothing like perfect marriage. Actually, the most successful marriages are built on conflict, and, that success comes out of committing to resolve through the stages and the conflict that come in the different stages of love, all right? So when you get to that point whereby you realize, I really want to commit to this relationship, knowledge on how to navigate through the journey and commitment. I always say this is the juice of everything. Committing. Having that commitment, having the willpower or having the energy to take you through this stage is very key. It's very, very key. So guys, knowing your partner, knowing that person, your person, I like to say your inner person, is very, very important. Why? Because, you met this guy, you met this lady, when they are in their adult stages. 20-something years, they've been living on their own, probably they've been living with their parents. And you're coming in together to try and make a relationship that can work. All right? So, most of us go wrong by trying to change that person. Instead of investing in changing, investing in knowing that person. What makes you think that after 20-something years or 30-something years or even 40-something years, you can change someone? It's very, very difficult. Knowing that everyone has a past, everyone has a history, and that history actually affects how they relate with you in the relationship. I love this quote that my pastor told me about, where you told you work on yourself and pray for the other person. Most of us are always pointing a finger at you, but you forget this thumb is pointing at you. So a lot of the times we waste our precious joys and happiness in a relationship because we are always pointing a finger at our spouses instead of really reflecting on our own faults. Okay? So it's very, very important that you stop getting into that struggle of, trying to change the other person. You change yourself. And when you change, the other person will somehow try and change. And I always try to, compare this to a seesaw. So you're here. You're maybe 50 kilos. This other guy is 50 kilos. We know all the law of physics. So when you're there, there's balance. But sometimes we go into conflict. So probably you lose your weight. You're at 30, the other person is at 70. So there's an imbalance, and that's where there's conflict, yeah? But when you continue working on yourself, it's like you're trying to, to bring back your weight to a place where there's balance. But when you're shouting at the other person, you, step down and all that. Guys, it becomes very impossible, all right? So trying to work on you is very, very important when it comes to relationship. Christine Kata, Karibu Sana, Emily Lee, Wanjiko Daniela, Simaloi, Grace, and Priscilla Mwaneki, thank you for joining in. We are talking about the 5 stages of love. All right. So when you learn your partner's language, I can tell you you've done 50% of the work. All right, 50% is done, because even during that time when you're having conflict and you're trying to create a balance in this seesaw called a relationship, then you're able also to reach out and touch your spouse using the language that they understand. Now I want to emphasize on something, guys. Your language of love is not necessarily the language that your partner understands. Please understand this. You cannot, if my language of love is maybe, touch. Like probably I'm this just kind of woman who, when we're in public, I want my husband to be all over me. We have those kind of people, right? So never assume that that is the kind of language your partner should have, all right? We are always at different spaces. But when it comes to speaking to them, when you understand what their language of love is, you're able to give them to. It's a gift to them. It's not meant for you. All right? I hope I make sense. It's not meant for you. It's meant for the other person. Just like love is meant for the other person. All right? It's good to love yourself, but the rewards come when you love the other person. All right? So this is in the context of a relationship. This is in the context of probably a family where you also have children, yeah? So very, very important. You have to make sure you understand your partner's language of love. And one thing that I want to encourage you guys is, it's never too late. For those of you who are in relationships and probably you do realize that they are failing because of not doing this correctly, do not get discouraged. It is never ever too late. You can always undo this thing and get things right, all right? Yes, so let us speak about the first language of love, which is words of affirmation. Oh, ladies, let me just say this. As a psychologist and human science says this, ladies think with their hearts, and that's why we like saying, you made me feel like I was not valuable. You made me feel. It's all about feelings. Ladies, there is nothing else to do. We are always, we want to be loved. It's about how this man makes you feel. And most of the time, when you're having conflict, you approach that issue from a place of feeling. But men are all about logic. So there are men who just feel like, I have bought for youth stuff. I have paid school fees for the kids, I have done this. Why are you complaining? What else do you want? All right, what else do you want? So we end up having conflict because sometimes as women we just want to be loved, to just feel that love. But a man is like, at your age, you're how old? Why would you want a whole woman like you? Uko na watoto wangapi? Really, and you still want to be at the touch, what? Men, let me just say, love is not meant for you. It's meant for your partner. So love on your women. Love them because, when you love them, you grow them. When you love them, you beautify them. When you love them, you help the esteem go higher. All right? So what do we mean by words of affirmation? Of course, it has to do with encouraging, affirming the other person. Okay? And, as we grow through life, you notice that most of us, like there's, we are programmed where our environment has to do with a lot of how we speak. For example, we have people who migrate to other cultures, all right? So like for me, because I travel quite a bit, when I go to Lagos, I'll be like, brother, sister, You try to fit in because there's a way you condition yourself. You want to fit into the current environment. So when we were born, the environment we found ourselves in a way conditioned us through, mentorship, listening to other people speak, hearing them, speak to others, how they react and all that. We took it up. Now, if you had parents who are very strict, parents who are approaching everything from an authoritative point of view, I remember when we used to, hurt ourselves. Maybe you're walking on there, with your parents, and you sort of like, fall down and all that, and they'll just slap you like, what are you not seeing where you're going, And I see myself, exhibiting the same behavior with my children. It's so weird because I was conditioned that way. But as we say, as human scientists, behavior can be unlearned, relearned, and the other one I've forgotten, but it can be unlearned or relearned. All right? So it's very important to realize that we don't have any excuses not to better ourselves. Because yes, you might have been conditioned that way, but for the sake of your relationship, it is very possible, or it's, for you to change a little bit of you, just to tweak in that relationship, yeah? Because at the end of the day, if you're struggling to survive and it's you who has a problem, then by working on you, it also has an effect on the other person. It challenges them to work on themselves. All right? So I said about our linguistic conditioning, how we talk has to do with our history. And this is where words of affirmation, ladies, they love this. Let me tell you, from any man out there who's watching me, this is a game changer for you in your relationship. Most of us ladies thrive on words of affirmation, all right? And when I talk about affirmation, what do I mean? A lot of us ladies, and I said, please listen to me because I'm coming from that space, yeah, of being a woman and having been married for almost, 16 years, but being in a relationship with the same person for almost 20 years, all right? So I have walked this journey. I'm not just talking from a theoretical point of view. I am sharing what I've experienced. So this is very authentic, all right? So we have a lot of insecurities, all right? And sometimes we will, look at our husband's phone, we will look at, and something will just spark in us, some sort of anger, like, who is this you're communicating with? So there goes the number one thing, the number one sign, red flag there. Insecurity, all right? Insecurity. And if you know that your lady, or your man loves this gift of affirmation, where he shows insecurity, you have to come in and encourage him. You have to come in and encourage him. Don't let it, go. Some of the time we just let our relationships, go into dips because we are also arrogant. We don't want to sit down and solve the conflict. All right? So if someone asks you, if your spouse asks you about, a message that they saw on your phone, that is maybe suggestive or they feel very insecure about, that becomes your point of encouraging them. This is also what we call, it falls under the words of affirmation. All right? A lot of us in relationships suffer from insecurity. I have suffered from it. All right? Sometimes it's not necessarily true. Of course, we always have our own, fears and all that, yeah? But when someone asks you, about something that has to do with an insecurity, that you can see they're actually scared about your relationship, the relationship, of course, maybe a third party messing around with the relationship, it's very important that you encourage them, okay? Don't just, whisk off that person and say, be mature, why would I? A lot of us just use very rude words. And if your person is looking for that encouragement, if their language of love is that, affirmation, words of affirmation, basically what you say, you lose them, you end up losing them, because where you are supposed to encourage them, you discourage them. Okay? The other thing that falls under the words of encouragement is words of praises. Okay, men love to praise your women. Please praise them when they dress well. Please recognize, I recognize this, small thing. If your wife, like, okay, I've done my makeup, right? Yeah, right now. I look different without makeup. But, sometimes I do it just to test my husband. Like, are you seeing this change, And, because we have been through, the different stages of love, and we have been seasoned, then he knows what to pick and what to say, okay? But a lot of us, we are very quick to sit and watch the Grammys, watch the Oscars awards. People are being awarded or being praised for their small achievement. Yet, in your own home, in your own house, you cannot even praise your husband or wife. You cannot praise your partner, all right? They look nice. Say it. You will not die. Men, you will not be electrified because you said it. Some of us suffer from ego issues. Men love to affirm your women with words. I'm telling you, this is the magic. Of course, a lot of women, as I said, relate with this, words of affirmation. So if she looks nice, say it. If she's dressed well, say it. When she's going out there, just love on her and tell her, baby, I know you're going to work. I want you to know that I love you. All right? That really, really helps that lady as she goes out there. Women as well. As your husband, leaves the house, affirm them. Remind them that you love them. All right? And especially if this is their primary language of love. We are talking about the 5 languages of love. For those of you who are joining in, Betty Mbula, Georgina Mokami, Idris Rukia, Rachel Mosonye, Ultimate Maka Nikuli, welcome. We are talking about the 5 languages of love. So let us learn to affirm, let us praise our people, our persons. Don't just be sitting there and watching, Beyonce is being, well, it is good. But charity begins at home. Can you recognize even your child, when she does good, when she scores good marks? Learn to praise them. And don't just do it for your kids. Even us, we are overgrown babies, all right? And we love it when we hear our husbands or our wives saying it. You look nice, you dress up, you're looking sharp. It does something. It does encourage you. It brightens your day. And we're talking about, words of affirmation. Very, very important. For those of you who are watching, please share this to your groups. Let us share mental wellness. You never know. This video could be saving a relationship out there. All right? Now, the third factor that falls under the words of affirmation is kind words. Kind words. A gentle answer turns away wrath. I will quote that again. A gentle answer turns away wrath. Now, some of us are narcissists. Some of us just suffer from internal, inherited anger issues. So, you asked a question like, I saw this message on your phone. Now, who's this chick or who's this guy who's like, giving you those 2 love hearts and all that? You're like, First of all, who told you to... Why are you going through my phone? Do you ever see me touching your phone? I mean, where are you helping in this relationship? Why are you being so... why are you being so rude? Why are you bringing out your anger? You've just been asked a question. Yeah? So please let us learn to be kind to our spouses, to our children, to these people who we love. A gentle answer will always turn away wrath. Yeah? Baby, I'm sorry that you actually saw that, but imagine there's nothing, and I'm so sorry if whatever you saw hurts you. That was not my intention. If you want, we can call this person. We can ask them. I want you to feel secure. All right? That is a good answer, people. But when we go like, do you ever see me? How many times are you ever on the phone? Do you see me telling me? So you end up now, making things worse. And people who love being affirmed, by words, enjoy the kindness. It is part and parcel of this thing we're talking about. All right? So be kind, people. Learn to be kind to your spouses. When you see people taking knives, trying to stab each other in relationship, there is an element of anger. All right? There's an element of anger. I mean, I'm yet to see someone who takes a knife. When you listen to these stories, there's a lot that has been going on. Okay, of course, I call it the COVID-19 challenges, where we are confined to our houses, and if you're having anger issues, you are a narcissist and all that, or if your relationship has been having issues, I mean, you find yourselves really, the roof actually blowing up. So I'm yet to see someone picking up, let me just use my phone, Ati, baby, I'm going to stab you. I mean, when you're doing this, you're always angry. Like, I'm going to, by the time you're taking something. So, sorry, I'm just being a bit animative. But that's actually what happens, Kind answers, being gentle. is very, very important. And I like what Rachel Mosonye has posted. She's saying gentleness and kindness is a law as Proverbs tells us. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of, she'll continue, So yes, gentleness is very, very important. And thank you, Rachel Mosonye, for just, bringing this out to us, right? So it's very important that you're gentle, always. You can always learn this behavior. I always say behavior can be unlearned and it can be relearned, all right? So you can condition yourself to be kind to your spouses. Now, the second thing is mature love is kind. Mature love is kind. Let me tell you, I've been through it all. Personally, I'm a choleric, all right, when it comes to temperament. For those of you who are joining in for the first time, please check out my previous videos where we've talked about temperaments and personalities. So you find that, cholerics love things being done, quickly. And then, of course, if they're not done, because of that perfectionist element, you get angry. Yeah, so sometimes you end up saying the wrong things and it ends up throwing off the relationship. But when you mature and also with age, you realize that when a kind word can solve the situation. Sometimes it's even about the timing. You may not really talk at that point when you're having conflict, but later on when things are calm and you use the right tone of words, okay, then you can be able to talk to your partner and they will actually give you a listening ear. So remember, mature love is kind. Now, let me tell you. Sorry guys, we had an interruption of the network. Please just keep it locked. Sorry about that. What happens when people don't get, words of affirmation? Because that is the first language of love. What happens when they don't have words of affirmation from their partners or even for the kids, from their parents? Outbursts. All of a sudden, someone just, you're in a group or gathering and people just, someone just bursts out crying or saying irrelevant stuff. I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry for those I have lost. We have issues with network. I don't know what happens, but let us just continue. I was talking about what happens when, for those of us who are joining in, we're talking about what happens when you do not get words of affirmation, even as you grow. Okay, there's something, as I said, the environment which you are brought up in has an effect. All right, it has an effect on you. So when you don't get words of affirmation, you always have bile with people. And I like to say, when you see a gossiper, someone who will come to your house to talk about someone else, there's something just wrong with them. All right, they're always looking for affirmation in the wrong way from other people. All right, so you're not getting this from your husband, you're not getting this, so you go out to look for friends who will affirm you. But what are you selling? Probably lies. I love, I never really waste time with gossipers. Actually, I just, step away from groups that, have this thing about gossip, because I realize there's an element, a sort of an imbalance in their psychological operation, all right? So at the end of the day, when you don't get these words of affirmation from your husband, from your parents, there's something just interferes with how you see or do things, all right? Outburst is one of them. The second thing is that you become very insensitive. Remember, you cannot give what you don't have. All right? So if you're this kind of person who was praised, by your parents or your spouse, who you get every other day, you're being encouraged, you're being given kind words, you're being given, words of praises, you will give that out. All right? You will find yourself giving it out easily because there's a wealth of that in you. All right? So when you meet someone who's having insensitive words, someone who will go out there and say, yeah, serves her right, you just realize that this person, wherever they are coming from, all right, they're, it's a breeding ground for who they have become. I see a lot of ladies, as I said, I'll speak from from the place of being a woman, where you find, women who go out there and the phrases you hear them saying, I've been a victim, where you hear someone saying something and you're like, really? And you're a woman and you can actually say this. And at the end of the day, Insensitive words. I mean, you cannot give what you don't have. So when you hear people, giving in a lot of jealousy, showing a lot of jealousy, people who are always saying the wrong things, toxic words, people who are always talking the wrong things about other people, telling lies, let me tell you, don't blame them. Blame how they were brought up. Blame the environment that they exist in. Because that is what they know. That is what they know, guys. Yeah? So a lot of who we are comes from our environment. So for every man out there, when you praise your woman, when you love on her by encouraging her, when you show her kindness, trust you me, she will give you back. Why? Look at her like a bucket. It's like a bucket. And you're filling in every day. You're depositing kind words. You're depositing, words of praise. You're depositing encouragement. All right? When you need it, this is what she's going to give you. Even during those times of conflict, the things that she's going to give you is what you have invested in her. And that is what we call mirroring in psychology. All right? So your environment is very, very important. And Dinda Athaman, Max Wambua, Julia Washira, Janet Karaoke, thank you for joining in. Please share this to your groups. Let us spread mental wellness. We are talking about the 5 languages of love. We have talked about the 2 stages of love. The first 2 stages of love. The first one, obsession, where you're just in love. It is all about love. I am so in love. I don't even see these imperfections in this person. Anyone who tells you about this person being, you're like, gosh, because you're so blind. That is the obsessive stage. But then we move on and we quickly transition into covenant love, where you realize, my God, actually this guy has a bad nose. It's so big. Or this lady just has, she just has issues. That is a covenant stage where, the flaws come out and you're feeling like, okay, now what do I do? Do I move on with this person, or do I just, wave and say goodbye and call it quits, yeah? So at this point in time, during the covenant stage, that's where the 5 languages of love become very key to the survival of the marriage or the relationship. All right? So you've just found us talking or finishing on the words of affirmation. And what I was talking about is what happens when your person, being that spouse or your child, when they do not get these words of affirmation. And one thing that I want to say is, people, your language of love, remember what I've emphasized on, your language of love is not your spouse's language of love. It is not. So please don't get it twisted. They have their own language of love. And one thing that you need to have is situational awareness. Know your person. What do they relate with? Because it's very, very important, especially where you're having conflict. All right? So, again, another thing that, happens when people don't get this affirmation, and maybe it's their primary language of love, they become very malicious. People who are always having bile, they're so malicious. And they're so, they're like bullies out there. Why? Because is this something that they want? They're really looking out for this affirmation. But because they don't get it, they do what, they go into a defense mechanism in psychology we call projection, where they now project anger, to people out there. Have you ever seen someone, a kid, you've quarreled your kid or you've beaten your kid up, and then what happens is they just go out there and beat the dog or beat the cat, they're releasing their anger on something else. That is what we call projection. And a lot of us do it. And sometimes we end up doing the wrong thing, because also relationships, suffer from what we call malice, whereby you're having an issue, and instead of dealing with the issue within the 4 the walls of your house, you're going out there to get another partner, and what we call compensating. You're compensating yourself now because your husband is not giving you these words of affirmation. You're going out there doing the wrong thing, malice. You post your photos, hi guys, just chilling, and you're waiting for the many affirmations to come out of your social media page. And then when your spouse comes in and asks questions, instead of giving kind words, you come in with your anger. All right? You come in with your anger and you're like, hey, do you see me even coming to your wall So as we are learning, let us be kind at all times. If you can condition yourself to be kind, it's also an investment in your partner, because what you give them they will mirror it back to you. But as I said, your language of love is not necessarily the language of your partner. So they're not saying, yeah, I see me, I affirm you. So what do you want? That may not be their language of love, all right? And the fourth thing that people do when they do not get these kind words of affirmation, okay? They look for unnecessary attention. Like I said, it's all about going out there, you know, I see ladies wearing skimpy clothes. We all know you're married. We know your organs are out, whatever, and you're just, you're there like, oh, I didn't have any ill intention, but, this thing is affecting how your husband or your wife is viewing, the relationship, because now you're getting attention from out there, and it's like, why did you have to do that? So people, please, let us not be so needy emotionally that we are trying to also get into malicious acts in relationship where you want to sabotage your own relationship by making your spouse become jealous. That will not make, lead the relationship to a good ending. Yeah. So please, let us not, remember that when people don't get these words of affirmation is the first language of love. When people don't get it out there, they have emotional outbursts. They have very insensitive words. They become malicious and, of course, look for unnecessary attention. Do you see this even in people around you, your community or your family members, even where you work? You see, there are people who are just always looking for attention. If you dig deeper, there's something not really right in their relationship, especially if they are married. There is something just amiss. And what they do is just trying to project or compensate for what they are lacking. All right? Remember, as I said, you can never give what you don't have. You can never give what you don't have. If you've never been loved, let me tell you, you will not, it's very hard for you to love because you don't even understand what this love is all about. All right? Number 2, remember, hurting people hurt others. Hurting people will always hurt others. Okay? And as a counseling psychologist, I always say, please, when you're hurting, go and emotionally detox. Don't go to spaces where you'll be triggered to now remove your anger or have those outbursts. When you're hurt, and in the context of a relationship, if it hurts, say it. Why do you walk out of your house and go out there? You're going to work. Who tells you that you'll return to that house? Yet you're hurting. Why not take that 5 or 10 minutes, sit down and tell your partner, kindly, as I said, kind words. I am not okay. I am hurting, right? I am hurting. You've done 1, 2, 3, and this really hurts, all right? Let them respond. Let them explain themselves. Give them time. I know for those of us who are cholerics, we like to interfere. Let me, on that point, can I speak? Can I speak? Please, be kind, be patient, all right? When you are finished saying I am hurting, when you finish expressing yourself, give the other person time to also express themselves, Not like, you're just interfering, Please, let's learn to also to practice kind acts as we engage. Communication remains very, very important, all right? So whenever there's conflict, where you're hurting, seek to ease that pain. And for the spouse, for your spouses, for people who are in relationships and who are watching me, the question to ask is, how can I make up? Remember, we said part of the words of affirmation require that you get kind words, you get encouraged, and you get, a little bit of being praised. What we call, of course, you all know about the sandwich thing, yeah? So how can I make up, The right thing is to say, baby, I appreciate you. I thank you for, sharing how you feel about this situation. How can I make up? That is a very, very important question in any relationship. This is a question that anyone who loves words of affirmation will relate with. And when I'm talking about primary language, this is a language that would make your spouse change their mind. For example, if a woman was, had made up her mind that she's actually, calling the relationship quits, and you engage in her language of love, her primary language of love, it has the ability to change how she feels, change her motive, and put her back on track. Another thing, Learn to confess. Learn to forgive. This I have learned the hard way. All right? Forgiveness releases people's negativity so that it does not consume you. A lot of us are walking with 50 kilos on our backs, 100 kilos on our backs of resentment, of anger. We are always carrying our spouses, all the things they have done to us. We have put them on our shoulders. And every day we are walking, all right? We are walking with these things on our shoulders. And every single day, because this thing is so heavy on our backs, it consumes us. So when you forgive, even in relationship, because a lot, as a couples counselor, let me tell you, I hear things. Let me tell you, relationships are hard, but I can tell you, if you're willing and you have the commitment and knowledge, you can navigate through. All right? So when you forgive your partner, it gives, you're releasing the negative aspects, okay? The resentment that you had. These things will not consume you. By the time you pick a knife, by the time you're beating your wife, by the time you're taking an object and throwing it to your spouse, let me tell you, it is because you did not forgive. So you have been consumed to a point of, uncontrollable anger. And now you feel, I cannot carry these 200 kilos of whatever on my back because of you. I have grown thin because of you. I have lost friends because of you. I have done to you what. The next thing, you're taking an object and you're hitting, depending on your personality. Guys, if you are in a relationship and you want it to work, learn to confess, learn to forgive. Very two important aspects, all right? Now, I hope I have made sense when talking about the words of affirmation. If you have any question, Beatrice Nyamari, Amos Akech, I can see you watching. Please give me feedback. Share this on the other pages that you belong to. Let us spread mental wellness. If you have any question, please inbox me. If you have, if you want me to talk about something in the future, please also feel free to let me know about it. So we've finished with the first gift of love, language of love, which is words of affirmation. As like I said, women love this thing. Every woman loves the words of affirmation, because it is through this that we get praised, we get encouraged by our spouses, and we are given kind words. We're always treated like queens, but when we don't get it, we are always so angry with everything, with the cat, with the dog, with everything around us. All right? Now, moving on to the next language of love, and that is gifts. Oh, gifts. Ladies out there, I know you can relate with this. We love gifts. We love being given, stuff. I mean, for those of you who relate with gifts, I know, we have, most of the time we have ended up, going into issues, unnecessary issues with our spouses, because we just feel like, okay, you've never showered me with any gift. Like me, I'm just here, I buy you gift. Have you ever had, people saying, yeah, you're sitting down with your girlfriend and they're telling you, I have been buying for you gifts, for the last 10 years. What have you ever bought for me? What have you ever bought for me? Do you think I'm just here to sit down here and look pretty So there are always those feelings of, I have invested so much. I give you gifts and you don't give them back to me. So remember, like I said, your language of love is not, ideally your partner's language of love. So it is very important that you know your person. Know your person. Very, very important. All right? Know this person. Situational awareness. And remember, a gift is only a tangible object. It's just, you can get a gift of us. This is just an object, that is given to someone as a reward of love or friendship. Period. All right? So sometimes the question is, do you attach monetary value to it? Okay? Do you attach it? And for those of us who are joining in, guys, I know I went, I lost network at some point, and I there was a connectivity issue, but I'm back. I'm really sorry about it. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining. Thank you for those of you who hanged on and have continued watching. Please share this to your groups. Masindegwa, I can see you're watching. Thank you for joining in. All right, so gifts are just a tangible, it's just a tangible object that acts as a reward of a friendship, of a relationship, of our achievement. But the question is, do you know your person? Do you know your person? Because sometimes you'll go out there, spend so much money on this, and they're like, wow, I know she'll like this. And, you bring your gift home and it's like, babe, let me speak in Swahili. Umezunguka hii dunia yote. Uko na kile utanibaya ni kalamu. Who told you I need a pen? Yeah? This is just malice. This is just the worst gift ever. And of course, if you get such a response for investing in a gift, there's this thing, you get so discouraged. Because you're thinking, why is this person, attaching, monetary value or bringing in some things? But the trick is, understand your person. Know your person. A gift is only effective, number one, if it is the right gift. Number two, if it is given at the right time. You don't give, Valentine's came. You did not buy flowers. Now, Valentine's was 14th February. So 20th, suddenly you show up with flowers. I mean, that is the absolutely wrong time. So giving the gift at the right time is very important. If it's a birthday, make sure this person has their gift on their birthday, because you saw it coming, people. You saw it coming. You know this is their birthday. Why give a gift a week after when this person has thrown tantrums, she's told you how she's leaving you, or he's told you how he's just done with the relationship? Then you get into a panic and you go and now get a gift for that person. Yet you knew that gifts are her primary language of love. Right? Captain Gitari, karibu sana. Thank you for joining in. My senior pastor, Julia Silla, thank you for watching. Please share this to the various groups that you belong to. We are talking about the languages of love, and we are talking about the second one, which is gifts. So when you give that gift, giving the right gift at the right time, accompanied by the right words, and to the right person. Very, very important. Very, very important. Sometimes we'll end up giving the right gift to the wrong person. Yeah? The right gift to the right person, to the wrong person. So, of course, when you do that, the comments that, come thereafter will not be pleasant comments. All right? So, very, very important. And for those of you who are, seasoned in the art of giving, if you're seasoned in the art of giving, you know that a gift or giving is not pegged on monetary value, but someone's personality. Allow me to expand on this, all right? If you're a spender, you will spend on this person, your person. You will overshadow them with gifts without even bothering how much. It's not about how much it costs. It's about you, because you're a giver. So, you're always thinking, what can I give next? And you don't mind spending. But for those of us who might be married to who we call hoarders, people who calculate, at the end of the month, they're thinking, okay, I've paid rent, I've paid electricity, I've paid, so how much do I have? Okay, now I have maybe 100 shillings to spare. And they say, okay, out of this 100, I'll buy for you a handkerchief for 20 shillings. And you're like, my goodness, did I get married to the devil? They get married to the, child of whatever, it makes you furious. Because your mentality, remember, as I said, it's about personality. You're thinking, how would this guy just spend 20 bob on me? For you, you're coming from a place of not having matured. Because you're thinking, no, someone only loves me if they give me expensive gifts. But let me just demystify this. Guys, when you're being given, it's about that person. It's something that is pegged to their personality. A giving person, someone who loves to spend, will spend without blinking, will spend without blinking. They will not even recognize that they're spending so much on you because that is just who they are. But when you have a hoarder, those people who just, the accountants of the family or the accountants, or, where they think of how much am I saving, I cannot spend 1,000 shillings on Venus. Let me give her a gift for 50 shillings. I save 950. It will take us, when we are old, we are going to need. Who tells you that you're going to get to that old age? Learn to enjoy life, all right? I always say, at the end of the day, we have now. Tomorrow, it belongs to God. So if you're giving and if you have the ability to gift that person, do it well. Do it well. Speak their language. You must know your person, all right? Now, where do we go wrong? Where do we go wrong? When we manipulate and force things, Now, cholerics. For those of you who are joining us, please check out my video on personality and temperaments, yeah? Now, some of us are the kind of people, cholerics. I talk about you because I know you so well. I've engaged with a lot of cholerics. Now, on my birthday, please don't buy me this. You're manipulating that person. It's good to hint, but by the time you're, trying to manipulate and saying now, it's just time I got a phone. People, can you try and relax? Can once your partner knows your primary language of love, can you let them just be? Don't try and manipulate things. You'll always have this outburst of people saying, I thought you said you're going to buy for me a car. Sasa hii ni nini umeleta baiskeli? Yeah? It's good to appreciate. Don't try to be too manipulative. Otherwise, you might end up putting off your partner. Remember, as we said at the beginning, love is not meant for you. Love is meant to be shared to the other person. It's not meant for you. That's how God has structured us. We give other people, So even when you're giving gifts, it's good to know the person that you're giving these gifts to. All right? Now, the second thing is having the wrong intention. Here we know what we're talking about. You've been called, you're trying to woo this lady, and you're really trying to, you're giving gifts, with the wrong intention. The wrong intention. There's a hidden agenda. When you do that, of course, then you end up also having the same feedback from the other person, They will not really give you what you want. So let's be careful about our motive, all right? A gift is very, very important, but let's just make sure that it also ends up in the right person's hands and with the right intention. Guys, with the right intention, all right? Number 3, not understanding the gender. As I said, women are very emotional. So as you give this gift, can you try and tailor your words? Even for the ladies who have spouses who, their primary language of love is gifts. As you give that gift, don't just go and to pass something there. Just throw, the gift there, or just put it on top of the bed and disappear for a day, and never say anything. Attach the emotions to it. Maybe I just thought, this is a phone, and yeah, you can see the color. It just reminds me of how expensive, you are, something, tailor your words, let the ambience come through, yeah? Not like, baby, did you find that phone? Yeah, you liked it. Yes, you have spoken the primary language of this person, but remember, there's something amiss. So remember, guys, ladies, as we deal with one another, like I said at the beginning, women think with their hearts, all right? And men use their brains. It's all about logic. Even when they're buying gifts, it's like, what works? Why should I buy? Okay, let me do for her shopping. It's a better gift than, buying for her something else, right? And women are like, now you bought for me shopping, and you couldn't even go and buy for me something like flowers, So remember, the gender also kicks in as we are talking about the language of love. So if it's for your woman, make sure that it's something that a woman can relate with emotionally. And for the women, as you're dealing with your man, make sure that gift has a logical effect to it. For example, I am buying for you socks because you need to look sharp. Or I'm buying for you, let me just say, a suit, because when you're going for your board meetings, you need to look sharp, baby. I want you to look sharp. And remember, when you're looking sharp, there's also, self-confidence. All right, so understanding that the gender rule does really make sense is very, very important. We are talking about where we go wrong when we're doing the 5 languages of love. And we're talking about the second one, which is gifts. So Joy Koech, Elisha Mwirori, Eric Macau, thank you for joining in. Kindly let us share this video to the groups we belong to. If you can spread this, if you can just share this, let me tell you, you have partnered in what we call mental wellness. All right? Now, not committing is another thing when you're doing gifts. You know, when you just go halfway through. You know, you're going halfway through. You're not doing this thing wholeheartedly. Yes, you've gone there. You've bought flowers. Let's just take a scenario like Valentine's. You bought flowers, right? Then you come and then, oh, okay, you've forgotten the flowers in the car. So you call in your daughter or your son. Okay, I've forgotten the flowers. They will just go and take those flowers and give to mommy. You are not committed to the whole process. I mean, these flowers are supposed to be given by you because your partner understands this as their primary language of love. So when you're going into this, you need to be fully committed. Guys, give yourself wholeheartedly. All right? People whose primary language of love is gifts. Let me tell you, they love to see everything, all factors incorporated. Give it to me at the right time. Say the right words. Let's have the right ambience. You know, it's not just about throwing things there. You know, okay, Sawa, here are your flowers. Nothing said, nothing, you know, and you're thinking, what's the Bible about? See, I brought you flowers. So you said everyone is getting flowers. You know, commit to the whole process. Commit to the whole process. I always say when you're working, when you leave your house to go to your organizations, your various organizations, you don't go and just stop somewhere in the middle. So let us learn to go through, you know, the whole 360, the whole, you know, 100 yard, yeah? So it's very, very important that as you give that gift, yeah, you are fully committed to the process. And remember, your body language also shows. I said at the beginning, you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot. So when you find yourself struggling with words like, honey, you know, why are you saying This is your person. As we said, you've already assessed them, and you know this is their primary language of love. It's very, very important, guys. It's very, very important to make sure that you are committed to the whole process. Understand them. All right? Understand them. And this is very important. Even as you try to get to know what their primary language is. As I said, your primary language, I'm pointing at you, your primary language is not the one that your partner understands. So it is very key that you know what to give your partner. And we have 5 languages of love. Now, one thing that is very, very key is someone's history. As I said, you have lived your life 20 plus years, all right? You met this person. They were already preconditioned in their environment, their childhood environment. Of course, they went to school, they had that kind of environment. So they've picked so much from their environment, and this has constituted their personality. Why waste time trying to change that person? That is where we go wrong. You know, it's like, why do you like gifts and you know we are broke? Yeah? Where am I supposed to get married? You should get money. You should have gotten married to a rich man. This thing of like, so you are demanding always for gifts, I cannot cope with it. Yeah. So it's very important to understand the history, you know, of someone. Of course, you know, if their parents, you know, were encouraging them, then you know suddenly, of course, that is one of their gifts of love, words of affirmation. So knowing someone's history can help you understand them. Let me tell you, guys who are rejected will always reject others. Guys who are shown hatred will always show hatred unto other people. Guys who came from a place of being gossiped about, they will always gossip about people. Guys who came from a place where they were bullied, they will always make bullying statements, very funny, malicious statements about others. So when you understand the history of someone, it helps you also be able to know how to relate with them. All right, guys, I know time is not on my side. It's exactly 1 hour since we started, and I know I'm just going to ask for 2 minutes so that I can do my the remaining part. Maybe I'll pick up on the 3 other remaining languages of love, which is acts of services, quality time, and physical touch. All right, so if you know this is your language of love, or if you feel your spouse belongs to this category, please make sure that you tune in. Today we talked about understanding the different stages of love, and that is the obsessive stage. For those of you who just joined, as we are almost finishing, the obsessive stage where you're just obsessed about this partner, like, you know, it's all about love, it's all about romance, it's all about, you know. And then, you know, we talked about the covenant stage of love, because, you know, the obsessive love does not last for long. You know, soon reality hits you and you start seeing the flaws. So at this covenant stage of love, that's where now these 5 languages of love begin to make sense, because it's a make or break situation. This is where you really commit. And one thing that we said, you know, is that this stage, love becomes a learned response, a learned emotion, because you're at that place where you mature in love. Okay, so next week we will talk about acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. And thank you so much for those of you who have been actually sharing these videos. I always say, you know, when you share about mental wellness, you know, it does say a lot about you. Some of us tell, you know, have even boxed me, and they're telling me, Venus, you know, I'm not able to give much, I'm not even working, but I would want to know how I can partner. And for those of you who have even been sending funds, one thing that I always emphasize, this money is not for me. I don't do it, you know, I do a lot of pro bono services. I give a lot of pro bono services. But sometimes, because of the overflow of clients, I have to engage other counselors who do this, you know, for a living, and they have to put bread on their tables. So when I engage them, I have to pay them. And you can imagine having to handle this mass of people. It is not easy. Yeah, it is not easy. And, you know, things are bad out there. If you look at my page, I've actually put my numbers, I've put my pay bill. For those of you who want to partner, it's not even a large amount. By doing like 500 shillings, you won't imagine, you'll be able to help me reach even into the slums. And I want to share a small story, and no offense. One thing is, the other day I went into the slums, and I was parking the car, and a small girl came running to me, and they told me, where is your husband? And I was caught off guard, like, why do you know my husband? A very young girl of 5 years. And I asked her, why do you ask for my husband? And he said, you know, because they're the ones who give us money. I don't want to go into the details, but I think most of you will know where I'm ending in this. All right. So, you know, when we talk about molestations, when we talk about, you know, things that are happening there, people who are suicidal, guys, we need to partner. We need to partner. You know, there are things I cannot even share live on the Facebook wall, yeah, because they can be gross. But when you partner, when you share this video, when you send in something small, let me tell you, it makes it so easy for me to engage other counselors, and together we are able to reach out, you know, to the mass out there who are in need. So those of you who want to give in and send in maybe something small, the pay bill is on the wall, yeah? And just to end up this session, I'd like to leave you with a parting shot. Something that I came across, a very good book from Gary Chapman. Gary Chapman is one of the people that I really love to follow, because he's very big on love, you know, and relationship. And something that he said, you know, love doesn't erase the past, but it has the ability to make the future different. Yeah? Love doesn't erase the past, but it has the ability to make the future different. The question is, do you know your partner's language of love? And do you want to change your future? Yeah. So thank you so much for joining in. I am done for today. Next week we pick up on the 3 remaining languages of love. Please give me feedback if you have an interest in any particular topic. I will definitely pick up and present in the future. Yeah, but thank you so much for those of you who have been sharing these videos. Thank you so much for those of you who have even partnered with the Mind Spa financially. May God bless you. And as I leave, let me just leave with this, you know, leave you with this favorite music. of today. Karibuni sana and God bless. Just sing it